Now that is interesting. Why wouldn't you want it? Hi, it's Todd from Todd's Workshop and Todd Cutler here, and I am back with the latchet bow. So this lovely little thing here. Now about 15 odd years ago, I saw the original piece. I examined it, I checked it, I measured it, and I had a chat with the guy who owned it. Now he told me that it was a Border Reivers bow. So the Border Reivers were a bunch of guys, some Scottish, some English, who were messing about around the border areas around 1600, give or take a little bit. Lots of violence, lots of skirmishing, lots of cattle raiding. The sort of thing where you need small, handy civil defence weapons. Perhaps, things like this. Now the problem is, I haven't seen any others like this, not quite like this. Now the styling, I would say, is really reminiscent of around about 1600, so I'll give that date to it, definitely. It doesn't feel like English manufacture to me, or Scottish manufacture, more continental, more French possibly. But either way, I know exceptionally little about the thing other than what he told me. So unless one of you guys out there can definitively give me some information on this, it's time to investigate a little bit. And there's nothing else I like doing more. So basically, let's put it through some tests and see if we feel that it would fit with what we know of a Border Reiver lifestyle. But before we go on, let's have a look at the history of levers and crossbows, because you might not realise actually how common it was to load these things using lever action. This bow is around 380 pounds in draw weight. It is too powerful for me to span by hand, too powerful for me to span using a belt. But I can use a goat's foot lever like the one I've just shown you. These are amazing things, and they have a constantly changing advantage, mechanical advantage on them. So the more you pull them back, it still allows it to be easy enough to do. And the rate of shooting is really good. You can do bows up to around 600 pounds in draw weight using these kind of levers, but it has a big disadvantage. You can drop it. And then you have a bow which is completely useless. Now Leonardo da Vinci, he recognised this problem and he designed a bow with an inbuilt lever. Now have a look at this reproduction that Andreas Bickler has done. It is fabulous reproduction and Leonardo's original idea. Now I don't know what the maximum draw weight of a system like that will allow, but I'm guessing actually not that much, maybe 250, 300 pounds, something like that. Not really a weapon for war. The gaff lever arrived in the 16th century, and this was really used on bows for hunting and sport, not for war, because it was limited to around about 400 pounds, not really much in excess of that. And this is different. Rather than pulling the string, it pushes the string. Around 1600, built-in levers really started to become a thing, particularly on pellet bows. So those are a whole classification of sort of crossbows that are used for shooting little clay balls or lead pellets. But then also they carried on really through until, well, the end of the 19th century, where they're still being mounted, particularly in England actually, on gun stocks, said to be popular with poachers, you know, because they are quieter than guns. Oh, maybe not, but what they are definitely good for is messing about in the back garden. They are great fun. So crossbows with built-in cocking levers, they go back to Leonardo da Vinci all the way through to the modern day like this one. So they really have lasted. Fantastic utility design. And they even appear in computer games. So have a look at this reproduction of a Skyrim bow I did. And the mechanism, yeah, kind of works, but it suffers from what they all suffer from, which is a low limit to the power. In the case of the Skyrim bow, it was actually very low because the geometry just didn't work. So let's get back to our bow and have a look at its particular features. It's got an inbuilt lever, makes it easy and fast to load. It's compact, small, versatile. That makes it very useful. It can even, as you just saw, be shot one-handed. It can be shot from the hip, as I'm doing it. You can even shoot it, if you want, like a gun. It's a great thing. And clearly, it's good fun. And it can be shot by anybody of any size, any stature. So it really is family fun for everybody. Why wouldn't you want it? So take it as read. This thing is great. But is it any good for the Border Reivers? That was the claim that was given to me when I first saw this bow. Would it be practical for them to use it as a civil defence or an offensive weapon, especially bearing in mind it's in the time of gunpowder? Well, let's weigh up the pros and cons. Guns at the time were of course single shot. People would often carry a pair of pistols, but then once those are shot, you've got, well, 30, 35, 40 seconds until you can take another shot. So let's see the difference between these two things. There's always the danger of fumbling. And there we have it. So 34 seconds, well, 5 shots. Obviously in the pressure I managed to fumble one. There you go. But that's 5 shots off until the next gunpowder shot can be taken. Well, with the speed, that's nearly 10 shots a minute. That's actually really respectable rate of fire. But then it comes to power. Now let's not make any bones about it. This thing is not a powerful bow. It has a short bow, that means it's got a short draw, really inefficient. It's got a heavy string because the power is up there, you know, at 250 pounds, but it's a steel bow as well. The whole system is inefficient. The bolts themselves are really quite light. They have to be light because they're small. So all in all, you end up with something that will deliver around about 12 joules of energy. That's about the same as a paintball gun. So now we're going to talk about penetration. Now, these bolts weighing in at 17 grams each, the energy of the bow, 12 joules, it's hardly anything for this system to work with. So the only way we stand a chance of getting through anything is for these bolts to be properly sharp. So that's what we're doing. But then the Reivers themselves didn't really wear a lot in the way of armour. Maybe a breastplate or a helmet, but this is never getting through that. Bit of old mail possibly, gambeson, last year's fashions, heavy overcoat, surprisingly protective. We're going to have a go at a few different things, see if it even touches any of it. So first up we've got some mail. Let's see how we go with that. No, that didn't do a lot. Wasn't expecting it to. Now he happens to be wearing a shield. Well, hit the shield boss, unsurprisingly didn't go through that. Nice shot though. Right, let's try again. Well, stuck in, didn't go through. We've stripped him down to a gambeson now, and that's over archery foam. Now have a look at this little clip here, and it shows that archery foam ballistic gel for arrows basically work the same. Now that is interesting. Hi, I've just interrupted today's film for another Todd Cutler related fact. This time about a Rothenberg studded grip rondel dagger. It's not the most comfy thing, but you will never let go of it. It will never slip and you know exactly where your edge is aligned. This, lots of other items available on toddcutler.com. And now back to the film. So that's gone in 75, 80 millimeters, 3 inches, 3.5 inches into an archery foam target. It's not an analogue for human flesh, but you do know you don't want your soft bits shot with that. I wasn't expecting the gambeson to actually get defeated that easily, so I'm going to go for another couple of shots now and just see how we go with it. Was it a one-off? No, it was not. Oh, okay, well that one bounced, all right. So what this does show is it will go through even relatively armoured materials. So our intrepid raider now is wearing a pork leg necklace. Obviously, you always do. Now I've put the skin inside. The reason for that is actually the skin on a pig is actually, because of all the foraging they do, tough as you like and tougher than ours. So it just wouldn't be a decent comparison. But anyway, I'm also going very close because I don't want to miss, which I didn't, thankfully. So let's just do a couple of them, see how we go. Now what I've also done is just put a single layer of shirt linen over the top. So that's all that's covering him now. So this could be, for instance, you know, his arm, his leg, something like that. Basically, to all intents and purposes, could be his face, or even if he's unarmoured, stomach. And it clearly is making a mess of him. Well, that was annoying. I should have shown you when I pulled the bolts out, because actually it did go through the skin, through the gambeson, and into the foam beyond. And for not much energy or momentum, well, that's really quite a thing, but I guess that's sharp bolts for you. So the next question is accuracy. Now this thing is easy to shoot from the hip. You can also shoot it from the shoulder, but basically, what's it like? Well, one to the belly. Another to the belly, which is, let's face it, going to be, on any unarmoured opponent, a good one. Oh, right, okay, so I missed the third target, but got the guy in front in the arm, no bad thing, also a good mark. Let's go for the third target again. Oh, and missed him again. Right, okay, so I seem to have a natural tendency, shooting from the hip, to head right a little bit. So let's go. Okay, he got him in the eye, so I've got a third guy in the eye pretty much. This is working on the basis that they are standing still and waiting to get shot, mind. And then again, we got our fourth guy in the arm again, just to the left of his belly. So you can shoot from the hip. Let's see how it goes from the shoulder. Now, I'm gonna go for, let's say, the third guy. Just to the left of his head. So not so bad. Oh, a bit of a funny bolt, that one. That was no good, but just missed his head again. Right, I'm gonna go for a long one to see how we go. So this is gonna go for our furthest guy. And actually got him just here. So you can shoot it for accuracy, sort of, but it's not great. So next up, let's see how it works if you're moving. So I'm gonna go get my horse, we're gonna saddle up, and we're actually gonna run this one for real. What happens when you're going along, moving, joggling about? Can you load it? Can you shoot it? See you in a minute. So first up, I don't actually have a horse. If I did, it'd be called Thunder. All I've got is a mobility scooter. But what I've also got is our knights, our men-at-arms, our ne'er-do-wells, our reivers standing out there that need to get shot. Mobility. Is it even possible when you're jiggling around? I know it's not a horse, it's as close as I can get. Let's find out. First logistic problem, what do you even do with the bolts? I suppose you have a quiver, but anyway, I'm a bit short one of them. Right, I'm gonna load up, give myself a sporting chance right at the beginning. I'm not entirely feeling good about this. Right, here we go, first guy. Oh, uh-oh. Okay, hang on. This isn't gonna work unless I stop. So, right, second guy. Right, okay, well. Oh. Right, I'm gonna do that again. I'm going around. So that is the first time I've done it. And it was a bit weird, it must be said. So let's go again. Now, oh, right, one complete miss, straight over his head. Ah, off-piste. Oh. And that, I think, is going to have to do. So, can it be done? Well, on a mobility scooter, yes, it can be done. Was it easy? No, not really. Would it be worse on a horse? My goodness, yes, it would be worse on a horse. Let's conclude. Border Reivers bow, yes or no? Well, it's a rate of shooting, really good. Better than any other contemporary weapon out there. The power, not so good. Not so good, but the penetration, actually surprisingly good. And that's probably because I've got sharp arrows. They penetrate really well, even with low power. So that was going through the flesh, it was going through gambeson. I didn't, and it's an oversight, I'm sorry, put it through a baggy overcoat. And actually these can be surprisingly resistant, so, well, that'll have to save for another day. And then it comes down to the actual accuracy. Well, if you're standing still, it was pretty shoddy. Any other, well, crossbow, pistol, long rifle of the time is gonna better this on accuracy. So that's a real plus point for them, minus for this. And then it comes to movement. Now, sitting on my horse, jiggling about the field, and I guess it's probably the same if you're jogging across the field, actually spanning it, loading it, putting the bolt in, that was okay. And then holding the bolt down with your left thumb, shooting with your right thumb, that was fine. It worked. And actually I managed to get this guy here on the last one in the face. You know, even though I've never done it before, a little bit distracted, all a bit weird, right? But it worked. It absolutely worked. So the lack of a bolt clip, actually, which I thought would be pretty decisive, was not the case at all. It worked just fine. So Border Reivers bow on balance, I can't say for sure. Would it work as one? Yes, I think it probably would. See you again.